Hey everyone. Well, 2 days in a row. Here we are. Friday night bee chat. Hey there, Roy and Keith and Mark and Mike and hey Ron. Hey Billy. Let me go here and copy the invite. People can come on in. Hey there, Scott. Oh my. And there it is, pinned up to the top. Hopefully everybody's doing well. It's gotten a lot colder since last night. Hey there, Todd. Hey, Jack and Danette. Oh my, let's see. There's Ryan. And there's Jack from J&D. And Randy Klingon. Hey, Phil. Seeing you on Fred Dunn's show there this afternoon. So anyway, things are doing all right here. Weather's getting colder. It's going to even get colder tomorrow night or tomorrow. And all next week it's going to be cold. So I got my vaporization done in my hives there Thanksgiving Day. Kind of beat the cold. Hey, Matt. Up in Sandy Valley. And all that. So that's what's happening here. There's Sarah. Haven't seen you for a while, Sarah. And all. So links up. Anybody wants to come on in, come on in. That's what's happening here. As you can see on the back of my back screen there, that's the way the hives are all looking right now. I got my carpet on there, acting as a wind block. And on top of the inner covers, I've got my inch and a half styrofoam insulation. And actually underneath of that, I've got a piece of wood about a 1/4 inch thick that covers up the vent hole. Hey, Hope. And so the bees can't get up and start chewing on the insulation. And then the telly covers, of course, top of all that. It actually fits over the insulation and down past the sides of the inner cover. Holds everything on there pretty darn good. Thank you there, Michael. Mitchell. Oh, that's what's happened to me. I've been eating some popcorn. Got crazy stuff make you choke. So, Keith, did you half crack? Did you learn anything from Fred Dunn today? I figured you knew more about what's going on than anything else. Yeah, the old Winnebago's kind of being a convertible there. I have a hard time me and reading doesn't do very well. And all. But we had a good chat last night. There's Darren. Darren was on the chat last night. We got into talking about fondant and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was the first time I ever happened to come in early enough to see Fred's chat and everything, Keith. I mean, doing a lot of different chatting. One guy I got a phone call tonight that he was one of the guys that was from Maryland and all. He wanted to talk about upper insulation and all. Hey, Rodney. So, all right, I'm getting tired of sitting here. I need somebody to talk to. Come on in live. There comes Philip in. He's going to save the day for me. Philip's not quite connected yet. Yeah, Scott. I hope he feels better too. Probably has a headache right now. Well, there's Rodney.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Philip, you're not connected for some. Oh, there he comes. Oh, there you are. Your fuzzies all get out, Philip.
Yeah, what is going on there?
You must be out in the cold someplace.
No? What's going on?
Yeah, I was just talking to Brian out there at Fowler Street. I get the spelling. Hey there, Ian. I get Michelle and Michael. They all look the same to me. Or sometimes I have to figure out how to distinguish that. So what's Rodney doing these days? Anything out where you're at?
Oh, just checking weights and putting sugar on top of the hives and just the normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Think you got a dead out, and you go out there and you got a double stack nuke with 5 frames of bees looking at you when you take the top off. So
Was it a dead out or just cold bees?
it was just cold bees. They were just all on the frames. They opened the top and they were just looking at me. I was like, okay, I'll close you back up.
Well, you just mentioned that, and the guy that called me this evening, who I mentored actually for a few years, he was asking me, and I said, "Hey, I popped up the inner cover, and the bees are all up in the top, And there's always been that thing. Well, the bees are supposed to be down in the bottom, and when they're up in the top, they're out of feed." And I said, "Well, did you feed them to where they couldn't take no more?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I don't think they're out of feed. I think a lot of times, if it gets to be about 45 degrees, they break cluster and they're moving all over the place. And I think that, I don't really see whether that's a problem and all. And I usually figure, well, they got feed to get through at least till February.
Yeah. Where's the popcorn at, Charlie?
Oh, it's over here, but it's got in my throat. What are you doing? Filling bottles, Philip?
Yeah, I'm trying to bottle a little bit of honey, but it's taking forever because I've got this one drip valve from Hilco, and
I was just going to ask you about that.
The thing's, I don't know if this honey I've got is super, super thick. I don't know. I haven't checked the moisture, but it's about as thick as I've ever had. It's like molasses.
Well, it's probably cold.
It is cold, but I mean, it's thick anyway. But this valve seems to be wrong with it. I probably need to take it apart like Joey did on his video. But I did try to run water through it and clean it, but it doesn't seem to be doing much.
Well, when I was doing the bucket honey,
if you can see it going in, it takes me 2 minutes to fill a 13.5 ounce jar.
That's because that honey is cold. You need a heated bottling tank. Believe me, once you get one, you're like, why did I wait this long to get one? Because I sat there when I first started out, you could buy a max amp bottling tank of 16 gallon, which is the smallest one. And I'm going to say it was $1,200 for that thing. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, $1,200 to put honey in a jar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can do that with a bucket just like what you got there with just a regular gate.
A gate valve. That's what's on my other bucket over here, and I like it better than this because it goes a lot faster.
And then one time it was getting a little bit, the honey was getting a little bit crystallized. So I put it in a water bath and heated it up. And I'm used to like, oh, it's you better open it wide open in order to get it to flow out. Well, it was coming out there like water. And I'm like, whoa, hey, Nancy. And so anyway, once I got this here bottling tank here a couple years ago, and it's like night and day. You can set it. It's between 85 and 95 degrees, and it just flows perfectly all the time. And I got big enough one where I can store, well, not any, I can store a third of my honey maybe, or a quarter, depending on how much I get in there. So everybody in the chat, I just seen where Cayman has posted for the pollen patties from Global with rocket fuel in them. They're $1.95 a pound, so 10-pound box is $19.
Pretty good.
And all that. So
Yeah, speaking of bottling tanks.
Go ahead, Rodney.
Yeah, speaking of bottling tanks, I was thinking about taking one of my stainless, big bottling tanks. I guess it ain't real big. It's just 10 gallons, but taking some copper pipe and just wrap around it, and then put a blanket and run hot water around it to heat it.
Probably work.
It'd be a lot cheaper than buying a bottling tank.
How are you going to heat your water?
I hadn't quite figured that out yet. I'll probably do some kind of little recirculating, like an aquarium pump or something. Because no hotter than you would have it, it would. I'm sure they'd do fine.
yeah, does aquarium tank or thing have a heater in it?
You can get a small 10-gallon tank or something and put you one of those larger size aquarium heaters in it and let the pump circulate it out through a hose. Let it return back into the little 10-gallon tank. You won't have much invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And just the blanket will keep the warmth in there, and take 1/4 or 3/8 tubing and just wrap around the tank.
Well, really, you said blanket, and I'm like, they do make blankets for the 5-gallon buckets, Philip. Electric blankets.
Yeah. Those things are about $50 though, aren't they? Those things are about $50.
No, they're $100 probably.
Oh gosh. Well, I was thinking about getting the bottling tank from Hilco, but I wasn't going to get the heated one.
Oh, I wouldn't even buy one if it wasn't heated.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I got a Maxan, and yeah, it's over $2,000 now, but I actually happened to get a grant for mine. And hey, Dan. And it's, I don't know. I mean, with mine, I can put 25 gallons of honey in there, about 5 buckets worth. And I just put it in there and leave it in there, and then just keep pouring out of it. And it just works so well. I mean, I know it's a lot of money, but it's only a couple 100 pounds of honey.
For the headache that it saves you, though, it just makes it happen. You can bottle it fast.
I'm definitely either going to go to something like that or go back to the gate valve.
Well, what I'm getting at is
this didn't always. This was,
just equate it in honey. I mean, you got 2 hives, so probably 4 hives can pay for it. What it amounts to.
On a good year.
They'll just wander on over there to Maxan at their display thing there at Nobby, and hey, I want that one right there for $1,200. 120 pounds later, it's paid for. Who's your friend, Rodney? Oh,
that's my oldest son. He's 6. That's Michael. So hey,
Mike.
Michael.
Yeah.
Hey, Maggie.
Yeah, the baby's getting a bath, so that's why it's so quiet.
Mm,
Yeah, Mitchell's 2. 9.
mm.
They're 9, 7, 6, and 2.
So, Brian, or why you think Philip's hesitant by pulling the trigger? Darren got a 6-7 gallon job at $600. Go heat it. That's what
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah, what
Don't
Brad says.
don't buy a storage tank.
Right.
Texas is hot.
Yeah, because it'll crystallize on the bottom, and you'll never get it out the valve.
Yeah, see, JB said he's got a 7-gallon. I think I'd want to get a little bigger than that, but
Yeah, the Hilco 7 gallons, $700.
that's not too bad.
No.
It sounds a lot better now that you're saying 2,000 or whatever.
Well, that's 25 gallons too.
Probably goes big or goes home. You know how that is.
I know.
No, when I got the government paying for half of it, I go big.
There you go.
And all.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I saw a video where a guy he's a military veteran, and man, I bet he got $100,000. He got a bottling system. It's got the automatic.
Hey,
pump
is that
and all
guy who was on here about 6 months ago or so?
$20,000. He got the government to pay all but like 2,000 of it.
Oh, that's a sweet deal.
I don't know whether or not that was even a truth situation.
Well, the first thing that they didn't say, it wasn't his video. It was somebody promoting him.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And he talked about how he went from oh gosh, what was it? I forget. He had like 800 pounds his first year, and then he got 2,500, and then all of a sudden he was saying we're going to do over 100,000 pounds this year, and he only had like 95 hives. And I'm like, he's buying honey from somebody and reselling it. That's the only way. But they didn't put that in the program. They acted like his 95 hives were doing that great.
Yeah. That was the same guy. Numbers didn't add up. Didn't add up at all.
I mean, that's fine if he's doing that, but they should at least say it on the video what he's doing.
Well,
Everybody.
who's that? Your wife?
That's my wife. Yeah. I'm on YouTube. Yeah.
But
Bees on this one.
hey, Tom.
Yeah, and he said,
I mean, I don't know. It's just like extractors and like and what's his name?
This is Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Yeah. This is our 40-pound 2-year-old.
chunk.
He's a hefty chunk. Yeah, you think that's funny?
But I don't know. I mean, when it comes to honey, I kind of look at it this way. You got to have an extractor, you got to have a uncapping tank, and I figure a bottling tank for a person that's selling, let's say, 12 a year. And now, like Tom and Melissa, they process a couple thousand pounds of honey, and they have what do they call it? A water jacketed shoot.
This is Maxine, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't there's Max Ant?
No, it's Hilco.
Or was it?
Oh, it's a tank. It's where you dump your honey out of the extractor in, and it kind of goes through all the gates and filters it,
The clarifier.
clarifier.
Yeah.
And then they got a pump, and then they pump it over into their 55-gallon drums. So it kind of depends on what level you are, but they've got
a nice setup.
they got probably 2 or 3 bottling tanks for different
that's what I was thought you were
dark
talking about.
honey and black and light honey and all that stuff.
That's the thing. I need 3 bottling tanks, not just
Well, you can
one.
go up there to Max Ant and strike a deal, you know. Or Hilco.
But like this fall honey this year, I only made 200 pounds. I'm not paying for much with that. Last year I made 550, but this year I made 200. Now, like the honey I got out at the country was just about a half a bucket, but it's unedible. I didn't think honey could be bad, but it's bad. You can't eat it. I was thinking about bottling some of it and taking it up to Nobby and just passing it around and seeing what people thought of it, just get them on camera. Here, taste my honey. This is what won the competition. Give them that nasty stuff.
Nancy just mentioned there on the No Light Beekeepers dinner that we're having. She said for honey exchange, bring like an 8-ounce plastic or glass jar if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to get I'm still not confirmed to go. Fred Dunn said he was sold out, right?
It ain't sold out.
But I'm not going to. Even if I go, I'm not going to
go on there. And he said, there might be somewhere around 3,000 tickets and something like that sold this year, about the same amount it was this year. Mm-hmm. What was sold out was the vendor area is sold out.
Oh, okay.
Brad just and all that.
Brewing cattle. So, hey, Mike, how you doing?
Well, I saw 3 of my most favorite people on the had to come and stick my head in.
Well, did you go into the wrong channel?
I did.
Well, we haven't been able to see any of the cats lately. I mean, it's been a long time. Big Blackie right now.
Yeah, I've got little Marie here being docile, and you got Mitchell there.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think you had a blonde cat.
No. I don't think you want a 40-pound cat. Oh.
Yeah, I saw that honey broker thing. That's what kind of caught my attention there. That guy that went, and I actually wrote in the comments back to him. I says, "You're doing a honey broker thing?" He goes, "Yeah, heck yeah." And they didn't mention that in the show. It's like, how do you go from 90 hives to doing $100,000 in business? Well, that was a no-brainer. I felt kind of bad for him after they left that out of the show. But
yeah,
there's been a whole myriad of people just full of crap. There was I think it was Bob Binney's most recent video about the 4 oxalic acid strips. The end was part 2, and there's a guy in there that his moniker is the amateur researcher. And everything he wrote in there is just stuff that he's read. You should see some of his other comments that he's had in different areas. In fact, the guy's even stalked me online. And I called him out something about he never fed his bees because he didn't care if he got barrels of honey. Claimed he's got hives on islands, so his genetic purity is there. He's got his beehives hooked up to cabins, so like veterans can come and like smell the bees. He's just so full of shit.
Who is this guy?
His moniker is amateur researcher, and Bob Binney pinned his comment on the last part 2 of the oxalic acid strip thing.
Uh-huh.
And it's just nuts. There's some of the, oh my gosh, there's a guy that calls himself Hive Doctor.
Yeah, I've watched.
Yeah, I've seen that guy.
Yeah,
I haven't listened to him, but I mean, you ain't even been long enough to be a hive doctor.
Well, it got even better though, Charlie, because what the heck was it? He had one of his videos, and I said, I'm looking forward to seeing your honey extraction. He said, I'm not going to be doing that because I'm not really set up to video it. And I wrote back in the comments, I said, is your tripod broke? I just had to give some brevity to this thing, quackery and skullduggery. It's almost like the Fat Bee Man who said one of them was, if you use queen excluders, it will shorten the life of your foragers by 67%. And this is years ago, and I wrote back in the comments like, where did you get that number from? Crickets.
So the hive doctor, I saw someone interview him, and he was very likable and knowledgeable and all that. And I was like, is this the same guy? Because on his show, he comes across as just kind of a know-it-all. You know what I mean?
I see both sides.
Now, you talking about the hive doctor, or are you talking about the bee whisperer?
No.
I like the bee whisperer.
Yeah, Peter, he's actually a good guy.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good beekeeper. I've watched his stuff.
But no, it's the hive doctor. By the way, if you take a look at any of his videos, though, you'll see these beautiful painted hives, rows of them, and not one bee coming in and out of things.
Well, I think he means well, but he just comes across as, I just want to say his bedside manner is not that great.
It's interesting. Hey, everybody have a good Thanksgiving.
I have not watched him. I might have clicked on him for a few seconds. And I'm like, this is bull crap.
It's interesting. And then you get these poor people that, like I'm just mentoring a young guy down in Prescott, Wisconsin. And I said, the number one recommendation I give to you is that if you're going to watch beekeeping videos, watch beekeeping videos that are by the professionals who use.
Like me.
Charles, come on, man. You walked into that. We're both working at sawmills on occasion. We got beehives, but no, the people that they depend on the bees to put food on the table, and I guess the moniker to follow that one is that the other beekeepers that actually pay attention to those guys. Well, I love that hive doctor though.
What I do.
Regulatory lids that had the. Go ahead.
I watch the commercial guys, and I listen to the commercial guys. You can't use everything that you do because they are different. But there's nuggets of information that you can pull from all that.
Hands down, yeah.
And then tweak it to what you do in your area. It's like if you watch, like Bob Benny. Okay, well, he's south of me. Well, he's going to be at least 4 weeks ahead of me in what he's doing and all that. But you can't do it when he's doing it. But you have to understand that.
Oh, absolutely, Charlie. And that's been my moniker as we've known one another the last couple of years. It said beekeeping is regional.
That's a good one, Matt. One
that I've been enjoying lately, I stumbled into him a month or two ago, was it's called A Walk in the Woods apiary. He doesn't have that many subscribers.
Yeah.
But he's in Florida. He's trying to get his bees ready to go to the almonds. But he's pretty good. He seems to be pretty honest about what's going on with his bees.
And some of the tips that we'll pick up from some guys like Russell found, and I never remember this guy's name. It's like Spring or Sugar or something, beekeeping in Iowa. And he's the guy.
Sweet Stingers.
What's that?
Sweet Stingers, maybe?
Sweet Stingers is in Oklahoma.
Well, they're from, Rodney, we talked about that one morning. It was, they're from Croatia.
Okay.
His wife has got a bunch of Croatian dishes on there, but he's the guy that Russell found that he's using honey and grinding his own powdered sugar to make honey fondant. And so you're not using, for us up here where the bees can't fly at all, we don't want to use powdered sugar. But Russell bought a sugar grinder, and Triton, Wayne is buying one, and I'm buying one. And then we're going to use any of the, in my case, I'm going to use any of the leftover sucrose honey that I harvested from dead outs. I've set that aside to make pollen patties and whatnot. It's got a higher peroxide level on it. So yeah, we're gonna make you make sugar bags. Just add enough honey in there to make it pliable, and it's easier for the bees to chew on over the winter. They're not trying to chew in that sugar crunch. Yeah. So just a little bit of fun there.
I make my girls work for it.
Especially those old bees whose teeth are,
Hey,
hey, reindeer.
Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, make the bees work for it. But Rodney takes it to an extreme, though. He actually has them out in his shop. How long does it take the hive to change the transmission, Rodney?
I don't know. There's thousands of them working on it, and
They're still working on it.
If you don't get anything done.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. So
I wish I could get them to work that way.
Yeah.
My bees were flying today.
Yeah.
So were they really?
Oh, yeah.
Some. I mean, it
got
got
up
down
to like
to
65 or something and sunny.
It got down to 32 here last night. It's supposed to get down to 20 tonight. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get that cold here. I think it's going to be about 50.
It made it up to 55 here today.
And those poor guys that are still don't have any homes, living in tents where FEMA won't let the trailers in and everything.
Oh man, it's going to be below. It's going to be in the teens up there because it's usually about 8 degrees colder up there than it is here, and it's only like 40 minutes away north. But
okay,
I'm right here at the bottom of the mountains, and they're in the.
Man, I bet the moonshine's going to be expensive this year.
I bet it is too.
No,
where are you at, Rodney? You're in what, North Carolina?
I'm at South Carolina. I'm like 15 miles from the North Carolina border in the northwestern corner of South Carolina. So
give me a town if you want to.
A town, Greenville, Spartanburg is, James McDally was here. I didn't get to see him. He went down and saw Bob when he was up here. He comes into Spartanburg every now and then with whatever he does.
Oh,
he's in a paper company.
Is that what he is?
Okay.
I can't remember what the name of the company is. It does. It's like paper films that they like wrap meat and stuff in. I think. Any other time I can remember, Cryovac. I think they got quite a few plants around here.
So you're kind of due south of Asheville.
Yes. Yeah. It takes 45 minutes to get from here to downtown Asheville.
Yeah, I'm looking at a map right now.
Yeah, I leave from my house and go straight up 26 all the way to Asheville. I'm 2 miles off the interstate, right at Interstate 85 and 26. Right in there's where I'm at.
Yeah, I've been to Asheville, and I'm going to say I was at Fletcher off of 25.
Yeah, Fletcher 25 and 26 right there. That's about 35 minutes from here. 35 minutes. And when Brian came down to Candler to help do some work with his brother, he came down and spent the afternoon and went to the beekeeper meeting we had here a couple weeks ago.
I think it was Fletcher where they got a music place here.
Yeah.
Something in the barn or something. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's not far off the interstate there.
Yeah, I don't know where it was. And then I think from what I kind of gathered from watching the videos that what's the guy who's a kind of like king of the backyard, or not backyard, but backyard farmers is whatever you want to call them. He's Justin Rhodes, and he around Fletcher someplace in that area there.
I think so. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, he had a lot of damage from that hurricane.
Oh yeah, he was up there then. Yeah.
He's right around.
It still looks like a war zone around here. It's just the trees are cut off at the edge of the road now. They're still there. They're just cut off and pushed back. Just looks like you took a lot of the pine trees and just laid them over, just like dominoes.
This is, I picked this jar of honey up because let me see if I can get it on the camera there. Y'all see that? You know what that is, don't you?
Copper honey?
Copper honey?
Capel.
Oh,
okay.
That's the winning honey right there.
Now, Philip, which one is it that I've got? Russell's got the other one.
I don't know. I don't know which one
Okay, yeah. We talked about it, but it was like
one of them is real. One of them would be real fruity tasting. That's the Richland, and the other one would taste more like straight honey, like you'd expect.
Okay. Yeah, because they did a honey sampling up here. Russell likes, like doing that at the bee club and whatnot. And there was a local guy that won. Well, I'm not going to misspoke here, but honestly, your honey is about my favorite that I've gotten from all over the place.
My favorite, I think, that I got from Nobby was Sean Booters.
No, where are they?
I think he's Michigan. He's Michigan, right around Detroit.
Michigan.
Okay. Interesting.
I think it's because those bees are getting that water. Where was that town that had that contaminated water?
What's really cool?
The honey glows? Is that what it is?
So,
Mike, what's weather like up here? Is it snowing up here now, or really cold?
We had snow yesterday morning, but we got like a quarter inch. But tonight, we're going to be about 5 or 6 degrees Fahrenheit. So, and it's not that unusual right here. The channel that connects the two halves of our lake is completely frozen over. But yeah, it's going to be chilly. We had some really strong winds throughout Thanksgiving, and yeah, in fact, if I don't know if he's going to do this, but I've had a pumpkin seed feral cat that's been letting himself in. And I got home from Thanksgiving. I was spent in Wisconsin, and he was sleeping on my bed. He's no dummy, but he likes to come in here and watch TV. Just a weird thing a cat does. Okay, what do you got there?
That's the fall honey. It's black.
Oh man. Okay, I got it. I got to grab that honey that I got from you.
Yeah, I didn't pan any of this out at Nobby. This is really dark.
Is that in a clear glass?
Yeah, that's clear. Here's the glass right here.
Whoa.
Wow.
Ronnie, now I talked to you about this. You got to stop selling used motor oil to fill it.
He found out a way to infuse it. So I mean,
people go crazy over that stuff. Everybody's talking about what you had that guy on last night. He said he couldn't stand the smell of that fall honey. And like I told him, it smells like money to me.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to cook with it. I mean, I like to cook with it because it's got such a robust flavor. It's not overwhelming, but it really gives whatever you cook with it a good taste.
That's a good one there, Brad. Texas crude.
Texas crude, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that was Scott. Scott was talking about what do you call it? The yellow flowers, goldenrod.
Yeah, the goldenrod makes a darker honey, but the tulip poplar does too in the spring. It's pretty dark.
That's what I usually have. I either have if I don't get my locust crop, which is a nice light straw honey, Then I get my poplar right behind that, and it's sort of a if you hold it up to the light, it's kind of a ruby red look to it,
Right.
and all
Okay.
that. And as far as like Scott there from the Unlikely Beekeeper, I don't get a fall flow. I don't get that gold. I get goldenrod, which they might get pollen off of, but I never get any honey off of that.
Yeah.
Main thing I get any honey here in the last 3 years is spotted lanternfly.
Oh,
Here
yeah. How's that been?
the goldenrod was just coming on when the hurricane hit. I could just go out in apiary and smell it, like 2 days before the hurricane hit, and it beat the flowers up so bad. It's like flipped a switch, no more. It was done. It was going to be a good flow too. We had all the rain at the right time. There was lots of them out there, and they just turned brown. I mean, it just beat them to death.
Then that's when the robbing started pretty severe, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to cover the front of all the hives and reduce them down to one little hole. It was crazy.
Hmm.
And they
And I know that. I mean, I sent Todd some of my honey, but that was some more of a locust honey. And this year it'll be darker. It's a lot darker.
So speaking of a dark honey, I had an engineer in the Black Forest. He sent me some, and I'm not even really certain how to pronounce this, but it's the black. Let's see if I can get that in there. But it's what do they call that honey? It's aphid honeydew from conifer plants. And actually almost has a bit of a molasses taste to it. And Philip, this is the Copel honey that I got. And it's the lighter stuff.
Let me get in there.
Yeah, it's the lighter
Now, it
stuff.
looks like to me it's the bottom is crystallized.
Yeah, it is. It is. This is next to one of my kitchen windows in the
Is
cabin.
there a lighting problem there for some reason? There you go.
Yeah. Sorry about that. That's this is the label on it there, Philip.
Capel, Texas.
Yeah, so I think this is the lighter honey. You sent a dark one and a light one home with Russell. And I love this thing. Hey, oh my God. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's the Keyboard Bandit. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, I love those teardrop bottles.
Yeah, see, my honey last year was like that right there, that light stuff.
It was. Yeah. So how's your ground moisture there going, Charlie?
Ground, we've been getting some rain.
You have. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The field up on top of the hill, my son planted in the grass seed this year, and it was up about that much. Then we went for like 6 weeks of no rain, and finally got some rain here over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Some pretty good rain, and it really jumped. It really, really popped up out of there really good. There's some spots that are a little bit bare because maybe they're, they're what do you call it? They got some clay ground or something.
Okay.
But, it'll come along. It's coming along better than what we thought.
That's a grand thing. Philip, can you hold that like closer to the camera? Because I want to look the screen. Oh, you got your mic turned off there. Well, look at that.
Must be, what is it, about 20 weight?
I think 30. No,
30?
You're right, 20. We can't hear what you're saying there, Philip. You got your mic turned off.
I was going to say, this is that sweet Texas crude Brian was talking about.
Tasty stuff.
Now, is that sweet crude or the non-sweet crude?
It's sweet crude, Texas sweet crude.
Looks like motor honey to me. It's like STP oil treatment.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, there's a blast from the past.
I know, right?
Yeah.
This is another reason you have to wait on it, because it just gets to like a little thread of string before it finally breaks.
That's beautiful.
It just keeps going and going and going.
So, what's the source of that nectar? What's the mix there? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it's I don't see much goldenrod around. I'm sure there is some, but there's probably aster and maybe knotweed.
Okay.
Wow. See, it's
Aaron,
still going.
Aaron says his Dodge
had to
needs an oil
stop.
change.
Oh,
Aaron says his Dodge needs an oil change.
Your mom's
that's
gonna get
wonderful.
you taking this off the tree.
Still going. That's why it takes so long to bottle. It won't ever stop dripping, even when you turn the valve off.
Well, that's why you need a one drip valve for Max Ant.
Oh my gosh.
Still going. Come on.
That is just wonderful. Gotta do it. We should have started timing that if we'd known I was going to do this.
So, Rodney, how many you got? Two boys?
I have 2 boys and 2 girls. The girls are 9, 7, and then the boys are 6 and 2. Yeah, I don't have it. I'll never retire. I'm just going to be tired.
Might break here.
I don't know. This is 8 children so far.
There it goes. It finally broke. That'll drip.
Mm.
It's like pizza cheese. It's good stuff, though.
Pizza mozzarella.
That's not going to get you too hyped up, is it there, Philip? You'll be bouncing off the walls here in about 10 minutes.
Oh man, I love it. Absolutely love
There's a good one right there. I think I have to agree with Brian on that.
$16. You can.
You can buy some AFB.
$16. You can have it.
Oh my gosh, that's brutal. I don't know. So, American Fall Brood. I think I know I've talked to Rodney about this, and I put it up in the comments on a couple of videos, but after watching Bob Minnie treating the fall brood hives that he had up at the store, and he was using that camphor oil, and the Hive Life, what's it called? Hive Life Var?
APA Life Var.
Yep.
Thank you. By the way, if anybody's got any caffeine, send it my way. But with the camphor oil in there, and the way it knocked the fall brood down, I was speculating that it might help us up here with the nosema, both bacterial and protozoic. And I think Brad did a wash on there, and he said he got like 50,000 where you normally get 50 million spore counts. Now, Brad, forgive me if I can't remember that, and I can't see the comments. But Ian Stepler used some of those things too, and he was wondering what the heck was going on as he put them on. And the bees were getting chased out. Well, it turns out that the camphor trees from Australia, you can use that basically as, to like knock down hair lice and everything else. It's an irritant to the insects. So that would explain why the bees were coming out of the hive.
Yeah, because like we have Apricot, which is thymol.
Yeah.
And that's all there's in there is thymol.
Thank you.
Apricot Var has thymol and camphor and I think a few other essence of oils in there.
Yeah.
And
So,
it actually is a little bit more irritant than what Apricot is.
So I've got a little bit of a speculation here, and I haven't got a hold of the manufacturers about this, but I was wondering, one of the reasons that you might use camphor in there is it might irritate the mites, and then the mites might release from the hives. And you guys have probably seen this where mites will actually tunnel through the wax cells too. And I don't know, why do they have camphor in there? But I'm looking forward to seeing Ian's spore counts. If it can reduce that down for up here, it's, it makes a big difference if you're not having the bees, the gut inflammation that they've got on. I'm thinking about winter survivability. So just one of those things to ponder there. And I just bring that up. And And I'm hesitant to say that because, everybody's like come through, well, I've used oregano oil and I've, like not only made my drones more fertile, it changed the oil in my car. Well, I think there actually might be something to this. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, DNS Dan. Yeah, it was the European fall brood, not the American. That's a qualifier too. So I had some chucks. It would look like bars leak. Roy. That's pretty good. So y'all have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah.
Good.
The leftover turkey's in the pot. It's going to get stripped down and made into gumbo.
Oh,
There you go.
Wow.
I smoked it, so it's really going to have a good gumbo flavor.
Oh my gosh. What'd you use for the smoking wood?
Mesquite.
Philip, that's all I use now in brines. I played around with liquid hickory, liquid oak to infuse the brines, and it came down to mesquite. And I do that with the pork jerky and stuff we make here too. So
you use liquid
in the brine.
Oh.
Yeah, when I brine the birds, I don't ever make a turkey or chicken without brining it first. It just makes it more tender. But God help you if you like season the bird or the poultry after that. You don't want to do that.
I just go out and pick it up off the ground at the farm. It's all over the place.
The brine?
No, the mesquite.
Okay, I thought you were going to make a joke.
No. I haven't bought since I bought the farm. I haven't bought charcoal. Like I grill my hamburgers. Makes beef taste amazing when you cook it over mesquite wood.
Oh, that's right. You got that resource.
It's amazing. I haven't bought charcoal since I bought that place.
Oh man.
And you're using what? Tumbleweed?
No, mesquite.
Okay.
We have the big mesquite, not the scrub mesquite. We have the ones
what is the difference? That one of them's a bush in it or something?
Yeah, the ones out in West Texas are kind of scrubby. They only get about 10, 12 feet tall.
What do you get?
Mine probably get 30, 40 feet tall.
Really?
Is it a tree?
It's a tree, yeah. It's a hardwood tree, and it grows all kind of twisted. And
now, does that flower?
Yeah, it makes a great honey. It makes a frond that looks similar to what you see with what's that Joey and them have down in South Louisiana?
Hello?
Yeah, tallow. It has a frond that's looks similar to a tallow frond.
Really?
They're yellow.
Okay.
They're just hanging all over it.
Get a big tree like that, it'd be a nice flow. Be plenty of resources.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's what's in the honey that I had at Nobby last year had a fruity taste. This year it's got more of a citrusy taste. So I think that it didn't start coming in until the mesquite trees were really in bloom. So I think it's got a lot of mesquite in it.
Interesting. Say, Michael just put a post up there saying, is anybody timing Philip bottling?
Yeah, I already timed it. It's over 2 minutes to fill one of those jars. It's crazy.
Mm.
And now I'm through with that. I'm waiting for that same drip to stop. It's still just streaming down through there.
Makes it more valuable, huh, Philip?
Yeah. I don't know if y'all can see that or not.
Well, I got April Life Bar here, and it's got 74% is thymol.
Okay.
16% is eucalyptus. I can hardly read it. And then I think it's 3 point something, and that must be camphor. Camphor oil, I guess it is. And then another percent is other ingredients. I think it's the way it reads here.
Okay, so the bottom line has got a much lower dose of camphor than interesting.
No, I think it's menthol. It's eucalyptus and menthol. That's what it is.
Where is it? What are you talking about?
the ingredients to
Eight
apple life.
are, it's not camphor, it's menthol and eucalyptus.
Okay.
That's not what I read on one of the other ingredient lists.
And isn't that those green wafers?
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds a little bit like apple tablet. Do they eat it or do they?
Now it off gases.
Okay, because I think the appy tablet's off gas a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, but they do taste good.
I like that. Cleans out your gut.
Well, in all fairness, though, the packages that I got were open, so I had it off gassed a bit. But after Greg Burns was talking about they were burning his eyes and burning his fingers, and I'm like, you're so full of crap.
You know what? Okay. Doug asked what's the moisture in that honey, and I don't even know. As a matter of fact, I might just go get the refractometer and see what it is because I'm kind of curious myself.
Yeah, do that.
Hang on a second.
Let's get this over with.
Let's do this. I'm going to stop the camera, and I'll be right back.
Oh, man. Let's see. Where are we here?
Hey, Charlie, what are your temps going to get to this weekend?
What am I going to do?
What is your temperatures going to get to this weekend?
Temperatures. Oh,
It's supposed to be
it'll
cold.
be in the 20s at night and maybe mid 33, 35 degrees during the daytime and all that. And actually, I'll tell you tomorrow, tomorrow, Saturday, 34 as a high and 25 as a low Saturday night. Tonight, it said it was 43 degrees, about 44 degrees here today and 28 tonight and all. So that's what's happening.
Yeah, we're going to stay in the mid to low 20s at night and 45 to 51 or 43 to 51 for the next few days.
Hmm.
The sun's shining.
Yeah, it's going to be sunny. It's going to be pretty much clear weather throughout all next week, but it'll only get, like I say, maybe let's see, Monday and Tuesday, the high of 41, Wednesday and Thursday around 39 degrees and all that. Yeah, it's 39, 34 degrees at the highs. And then the following week, it's supposedly it'll be around 45 degrees most of the time, 40 to 45. I'll be able to vape the hives. Maybe Friday, I guess. Friday or Saturday, Sunday.
Hey guys, the other cat people here. I'm gonna see if I can turn the laptop here and see if you won't run.
Yeah. We need to have everybody guess what the moisture content of that honey is going to be. Who's the closest?
Oh crap! It's dark in there.
I see him over there. Uh-oh. Yeah, he's getting ready to bolt.
No, he saw you guys on TV, and all of a sudden he gets up and is like, "I gotta watch this crap."
Look at that right there.
Okay.
What do you got, Phil?
That's my son just put those together. Let's see if we can get
Wow.
focus.
Oh, that's right. You got those little wood crates. That's fantastic.
Those are the taster sets. We haven't put them in the shrink wrap yet, but he's got them lined up, ready to go.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I think that's 18 of them.
That is beautiful. My gosh.
That's got all three kinds of honey. It's got the fall, spring Capel, and the spring Richland. I'm letting this refractometer warm up a little bit. It was out in my shed, so it's a good 10 degrees or 15 degrees cooler than it is in here. I think it's supposed to be the same temperature as the honey, right? To be accurate.
Is it?
I'm gonna guess 16.5% moisture content.
I'm going to go right with you.
Let's see if anybody in the chat wants to guess.
Let's get a bidding thing going on here.
What's that?
You win a
Moisture content.
you win a free coffee at Nobby.
I will send you lutefisk.
All right.
That reminds me, I might get out there tomorrow and move a nuke and fill out where I have a dead out.
Oh my gosh.
What are we guessing?
Oh god, I got too much honey on it though. It didn't come out.
Well, Rodney's and I are guessing a 16.5, but
Got
holy
a big
smokes.
blob there. That's a little too
Come
much.
on.
I meant to put a drop, but it's so thick it comes out in a big blob.
Are you sure you don't have molasses in there?
it tastes a little like molasses. I wonder if the bees got on some sugar cane.
I don't know. We got a spread between 17 and 14.
Okay.
So somebody said
Sometimes
18.
thick honey will surprise you. I've thought it, I've seen it crystallize and it's still like 17, 18%.
Yeah, it can be.
1%. The price is right.
Yeah, 1% up. Yeah, $1 more.
Oh, Doug's guessing 15.
Well, I hope my refractometer is wrong.
Mike is 15.5. Hope is 15.5. Brad is 14%.
Was it fogging up on you?
No, it's reading pretty clear what it is, but I've never seen it this low before. Nobody's
Uh-oh.
guessed low enough. Brad is close.
12%.
13.
Wow.
No way.
James Noel was at 14.
Yes.
I guess it's still one. That's what
Hey, the winner is James. Was it Noel?
Yep.
Noell. He's the closest.
Wonder if I
That's
could get
impressive.
that. Wonder if I could get that on the camera. Let's see. Let's play around here.
Let me see if I can get it up there
Yeah, give
close.
me one. Yeah.
Can't see to quite get it.
Yep, it's starting to do something.
You're close, but
You're really close.
that's incredible.
Turn it clockwise slightly. All right.
Can't tell if it's. I'm trying to get it. Okay, there we go.
Move it towards you a little bit where the blue will show up. Right. Whoa, right there. Up.
There's the
Over
13.
towards you. Over towards you. Just a hair. A little bit more up to the right and
When I
right
barely
there.
move it,
now go towards you a little bit. Right there. I can't read it though.
that's a 13. That's like 12 and a half there, isn't it? Or it's,
Can't see it.
hold on. Let me put the light down with my. Let's try this again.
So Brad and James were the closest at 14%.
Yeah.
Just picking up a reflection right now, I think. I got to get the light down into the screen here. I got a bright light over here, but
Yeah.
James Noel, 14. Brad is 14.
try this.
Yeah, right, up, over towards to the left. The other way.
The other left.
I can barely see it. 6.4.
Let me look.
Yeah. What do you got now there, Philip?
That might be part of it. It got out of focus. I twisted the little eyepiece. Now it's reading 13 and a half, closer to 14.
Keep it there long enough and me and Michael win.
It's not a good sharp line because I got too much liquid on it. If you get too much on there, you get a dull line.
Okay. Yeah, you did have quite the load on there, but
You owe James and
Yeah, 13 and a half is what it's reading here.
James and Brad, let us know where you want the ludicrous ship to.
James and Brad both.
Oh, that's the best one yet. Can't quite.
There
Oh
it is.
man.
There it is, right there. Stop. It's like 7.5.
It says 13 on the left.
I'm looking at that center thing. That's what I'm looking at. I'm
Yeah.
looking at the wrong one.
Yeah, that's like 70 something there. Yeah, I keep showing you the left-hand side, which is some other
Brad wants to know what his prize is.
right hand. I don't know.
You
Cup
get a
of coffee,
tasting of
coffee.
the
When he
liquid
grabs-
gold honey.
It's
Liquid
a
oil.
free cup of coffee at Nobby when he shows up, right?
It's not going to ferment though.
No.
Hmm.
You'll have to keep it in the warmer just to pour it out.
Well, it takes a while when I'm at the market. I leave that fall honey jar laying on its side, so I can get it to the end in time.
Now, why do you leave it on its side?
Just so when I tip it over to let people taste it, it didn't take so long to run down.
Oh, okay.
Leave it straight
Okay.
up and have to invert it.
Interesting.
Takes forever, especially if it's a little bit cool out. And early in the mornings before the sun comes up, yeah, it's a nightmare to try to
Yeah. Roy wants to recount.
do the taster.
A recount?
Now, I don't know if this is calibrated. I'm not going to go through the trouble of calibrating it for this little contest.
Leave it out, and you'll have to chisel it with a jar, is what Hale posts there. Oh my gosh.
That was fun.
Yeah. Wow. So just 13.5%.
Has anybody ever mixed water with their honey to try to get the moisture content up?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, you basically have to figure out get your moisture in the honey, and then figure out the weight. You know, get your calculator out there. Like you're going to put in like about like half teaspoon per gallon, or whatever.
Right.
Russell's really good at that. He'd make a ginger creamed honey, and that's powder. So it'd get a little dry just from the amount of fresh ground ginger that was in there. You end up with the same thing if you're putting cinnamon in your honey too.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll drop it out. It depends on how big of a batch you're doing, but you can do it. You have to get your calculator out and do the weight measure, and you need to know what your initial starting point is.
Hey, Matt.
So kind of doing that, but it is a grand thing.
So
Wow.
Paul just said he dropped his $2,000. Paul, are you driving or flying?
Needs a semi truck.
If he
Really?
if he spent 2,000, he probably saved 1,000.
Yeah.
It's like a science project. Yep. Pretty much. Morris.
Yeah, it's Matt.
There we go. Oh, here we go. Norman said, I made my own cranberry sauce using honey. Oh, get out of here. You put honey in your cranberry sauce?
No, he made fake cranberry.
I made my own cranberry sauce.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought he was adding that to the cranberries.
Oh, that's what I thought too. That's good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Uh,
I think if you
Right.
ferment that for about 6 months, you'd have some really good mead.
boy.
I guess Doug was washing the floor. I guess the moisture in the air will make the honey.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, Norm is actually doing that. He's boiling the cranberries and then adding to it. It's not fake cranberry.
Mm.
So let's see.
So what is cranberry sauce? Kind of a gel where you put sure gel in it and it just gels up the liquid?
No, cranberries has got its own pectin in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the South, it's just gel in a can.
Yeah, he's getting it to the store.
That's what I make sure. I make sure mine has. It has to have the can lines on it, or it's not the real thing.
Right.
Don't be trying to squish it up and make it look like it's real. I want it to be just the round, perfectly round slices.
I thought those lines were to show you where to cut it.
That's right. That's right.
Actually, Rodney had an aunt that would do that. I'm not kidding. She had to figure out how many lines over to fill up one particular dish, and then she'd go down the table like that.
My oldest brother's wife, she always makes that salad. It's like shredded lettuce and green beans and mayonnaise and then bacon bits on top. And one year she put, instead of those cheap nasty bacon bits that are like pink colored, that food color, she put the real thing. She put the real thing on there one year, and I was like, no. You've got to put the fake ones on there for Thanksgiving. We can't be trying, because I love this stuff. I don't know why I love it, but it's really good. And I only eat it once a year, and it's at Thanksgiving. So don't be putting real bacon bits on this.
Man.
This salad.
All the chemicals and additives, Philip. That's what makes it good.
Something.
Oh gosh. So Charlie, you've never had it?
I've had, I've been around. I've looked at cranberry, out of the can, and it always looks like to me it's just a gel. I mean, that it's been frozen or whatever.
Blob of gel.
Yeah, like a shore gel type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, we had an intern here from Latvia, and his goal was to go back there and start his own cranberry farms. So,
in Alaska,
Latvia.
Where's that at?
It is, what is it, north of Finland?
It's some kind of Eastern Bloc, isn't it?
Yeah, it's part of the Eastern Bloc. Yeah, I know he was conscripted into the Russian Navy, but that's what he wanted to do. And then northeastern Wisconsin, actually north central Wisconsin, they've got cranberry farms there, Yahoo. And guess what? They have beehives there to pollinate them. So
I wonder how they are on the bees compared to like blueberry. Blueberries are real rough on the bees, from what I hear.
Well, do they use a lot of fungicides on those?
No, it's just they don't get much out of them. I mean, they pollinate them, but I don't think they get much, and they come back pretty light, from what I hear.
Okay.
Well, that's like with any of that pollination services. When it comes to, there was a guy that came to our club when I first started, and he pollinated a lot on the eastern shore of Maryland and New Jersey, like pumpkins and peas and I don't know, green beans and stuff like that. And people said, I bet you get a lot of honey. He says, no, not really at all. He says, I got to feed them bees because there's no nectar on there. It's all about pollen.
Okay.
And he's, that's where he makes the money off the pollination service, and there's no real honey there, except for maybe there might be some like green bean honey or something like that. Somebody had talked about one other time.
I've never talked to the Wisconsin cranberry growers, but it's from what I recall, a lot of them have like local beekeepers that just keep their hives basically in the same area, and so they're not migratory. I'm foggy on that one, but that's a cranberry bog is quite a sight to see too.
Yeah, I've seen it on like Discovery Channel, and that's pretty crazy how they harvest them and they all float up and they take them to the
Oh, the
edge of the
floating
pond.
berries. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean they don't grow in water. That's the only reason they flood it is to be able to harvest it.
yeah. So they'll float and they can gather them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Machine,
remember.
I think what is it? They run a machine across it while there's no water, and it kind of picks the berries up and throws them back out on the ground or something.
Well, it beats them loose from the shrub.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they dislocate them. Say, speaking of blueberries, so my bog next to me here on the lowland, and it's a true bog. It's actually a covered lake, but I've had blueberries growing in the center of it, and they've always been there. But some years ago, we started putting the beehives right next to them. That blueberry patch has expanded about 8 times.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny.
I forget. Somebody put a video out years ago, and I'll say these people were in Pennsylvania, I guess it was, and the son got into bees, and then of course the kid, lost interest, and here mom and dad got, took over, and they had. She would always like to make, I think it was black raspberries, and
Ooh.
she said it would take her a year or two of picking raspberries in order to make jelly or whatever she was making at the time. And as they kept taking care of bees, then the raspberries got more and more and more. Well, that's because they were well pollinated.
Yeah.
And they just, the vines really exploded, and
Yeah.
and now she says, I can make, she might make, like, I know one person takes raspberries and they make a pie out of it and all that, but she can make, instead of like 3 or 4 jelly jars, she's making dozens and dozens at the time when that was put out.
Oh, it makes a big difference. We've got they're the little teeny blackberries, and my grandma used to call them black caps, and she'd make a jam from them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got those growing down next to my lower garden and on the side of the bog, but basically the whole peninsula, they've all of a sudden, they've really exploded quite a bit, and it's delicious jam. It's technically jam,
Mm-hmm.
and you get a little crunch in the seed, but boy, it made a difference. So, just the volume of hives that were up here, it's kind of fun. Say, Charlie, I do have a movie theater popcorn popper I'll sell you.
Oh yeah.
I literally do. It's 14 inches by 14 inches by 24 inches tall. It's got the kettle on it and everything.
I just get some Pop Secret once in a while. I don't eat.
I know. I like it. Actually, today I called up our local store there. I was craving it was a Jiffy Pop. You put it on the shaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. I want a tin of Jiffy Pop.
Do they still make Jiffy Pop?
Yeah, you do find it. It's pretty rare, but you can find it. I think the Walmart up here carries it. But yeah, the stovetop and the the thing to grow up and
like that.
Yeah,
That was the first one ever.
Kind of it was good fun. We'd cook
know,
those
Mike, it's getting close to Christmas. You could always send that to Charlie as a gift.
Honestly, I don't think there's a good way to ship it.
Probably glass and everything else.
Yeah, it's glass, and the kettle is, you got to take that apart, and boy, I'd love to do that though. That'd be pretty funny.
Hey, meet him at Nobby, and y'all could just exchange there.
If I was going, yeah, that would be good.
Be another reason to go.
I wonder if Matt and Sarah are going.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, if I knew any of the beekeepers that were going here, I could actually. Okay, but Charlie, how would you get it home?
Oh, I got a minute. I'm driving them. I'm driving to Nobby.
You're taking the pickup truck?
I have a minivan, but I got 2 boxes. I got 2 cases of frames coming home with me this year.
Okay.
And all that. So I got spaces pretty tight. Probably, and Cayman's got the global patties are up for sale now on the website, or I guess it's actually on the Facebook page, and I might get a couple 20 pounds of that.
No, do they sell that as a pollen sub? I mean, a powder? Or there's just strictly patties?
I mean, you can buy rocket fuel as a powder, but I buy the global patties with the rocket fuel in it.
That's what you're doing. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Oh, hey, Mama. Good to be home.
Yeah, she's finally home from rehab. You know, she's about to kick the habit. I'm just kidding.
You know Jeff Butler, Mike.
Yeah, I do. What do you say there? You are. Okay. Well, you and I should actually get a hold of one another.
I mean, when you can buy a pollen patty for $1.90 a pound, and normally it's about $3 or $4.
Yeah.
Worth it.
And global patties will beat Man Lake patties any day of the week, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
I mean, they're nice and they're real soft and pliable, kind of like fondant almost. And bees love them.
Okay, that sounds good.
Them Canadians know how to do it, you know.
Well, you know, in the north, when we don't have like a huge amount of spring pollen like you folk do.
What is it? What foam? What? But I'll get probably a couple 20 pounds or so of that. Get the frames. I don't know. I don't need any miticides this year. I'm pretty good for next year already.
Okay.
So he says you can have his coffee, Charlie, since he can't go.
Yeah. I'll take I'll exchange it for a hot chocolate.
There you go.
Well, that sounds good.
You don't do the coffee thing?
No, I'm not a coffee drinker. Never have been. So what's the cat's got steps up the side the walls there, Mike?
Yeah, I built and I can't really, I don't think I can show this, but the vaulted ceiling in the cabin here. I've got the exposed beams, and I've brought some slab wood home from the wood mill.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get up there and then they lay on the
slab.
Yeah, they've actually got like a regular stairway up there.
I bet it's nice and warm up there.
Oh boy. Yeah. And the fireplace just fired up. So yeah, they like doing that. That'll be a good thing. Hey, thanks, Jeff. That's excellent mead maker in the Southeast Minnesota Beekeepers Club in Rochester makes a black cap mead. Oh, you got to be kidding, Gary. Seriously? Oh my. Black cap mead. Gary, where are you? What county or town are you close to there? Are you down in Spring Valley by any chance? I would love to try that. I never thought about doing that. We were going to make some mead here, and we were talking about doing running it through the still. We were going to make distilled mead, and it would be really interesting to make a distilled mead brandy.
Yeah, that's what you'd have.
Oh my gosh! Of course, Rodney, I have to get in touch with you about that.
Okay.
Not used to people noticing me not being around. No, DC, we were missing you. Russell said you got like a new game or something like that you got immersed into. So a little bit of fun there, but boy, that's really interesting. We used to spend a lot of time down in that southeast Minnesota there. Wow. Well, if we do make that, I will definitely do a video on it.
Mark likes that idea too. Mark Miller.
Yeah.
It
Oh
would
my
be
gosh.
unique for sure.
A black cat mead. Oh, just get all over that thing. That'd be just delicious. So, anyways, so you guys got any exciting beekeeping thing you're doing over the weekend here?
Not yet.
No, not here.
I'm just filling jars and making gift sets and making boxes for the gift sets. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I talked to Mr. Vince about your display boxes, your 3 boxes, and Russell and I were talking about that too, like doing 3 different. Yeah. Hold that up. What do you got? What do you got packed in there with it to hold it in place? It's like shredded paper.
Yeah, there's shredded paper.
That. It looks beautiful.
So
What do
you got a
next
candy,
to
you
that?
got honey, you got a dipper, and what's in the middle there? Lip balm?
Lip balm, a candle. This one has a pair of earrings.
Oh, that's right.
Your daughter makes really nice looking stuff there.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
I've
she
got
did.
I don't know, let me see.
Can get on there.
Let me show you what it is here in the back. I call it my bee paraphernalia, my bee propaganda. It's
Yes. Put your business card in there. Absolutely. Oh,
got
check
that.
that out. You got a little
It's
fold out.
Fancy
Yeah.
card. Fancy fold out.
yeah, it's
Wow.
it's got fun bee facts right on that side, and then it's kind of got my bee story of how we deal honey here.
What a great idea.
I'll read the top part here.
Have your bio in there.
You can
At the
read.
top, it says, at RTX Honeybees, we specialize in small batch, single source honey. We do not mix the honey from different locations or from different times of the year. Each location is unique with its own mix of local flora. Spring honey is different from fall honey. Honey this year may taste different from last year's honey because of the differences in the weather and rainfall amounts. Rather than striving for a consistent product, we like to celebrate the differences. Our honey is a unique gift the bees have given us, like a flower that only blooms for a few days. We treasure it in its own place and time. How you like that?
That is really slick. That is really very, very nice.
One of those in each of the gift sets. And it's also got stuff about how to, not to overheat your honey and not to give it to children, those just typical.
Yeah.
Store it at room temperature or above. Those kind of things.
So Jeff was asking you, what size jar is that?
In this gift basket, it's 9 ounces of honey weight.
Okay.
And that jar that I was just filling is 13.5 ounces. I do sell this is a 15-ounce honey pot jar right here that I sell the Richland honey in, just the honey.
Very nice.
Isn't that the one that was hard to try to find?
That jar? I don't know. It's I get it from Berlin Packaging. They used to have a deal where you got free shipping at $300, but you had to be under a certain weight. But I think they finally quit doing that. It was just so difficult for people ordering glass to stay under that weight. Here recently, they haven't been. They hadn't been mattering what weight it is. And sometimes it comes on pallets, and sometimes it comes in boxes from UPS. It just depends.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Most of the time, it comes in boxes from UPS.
Hey, James, good to see you.
There's another Canadian. We're getting invaded again.
Yeah, but he's down in the islands down there with all the hula dancers or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Or grass skirts or whatever it is down there in Grenada. I thought didn't we bomb that place one time?
No, it was a made-for-TV invasion.
Okay.
I don't think there was any bombing that happened.
Yeah, there was
They might have softened them up a little bit.
Yeah, we lost a load of seals when they got dropped off at the wrong location. They drowned on the way in there.
Mm.
And
No.
then
All I remember is the evening news was sitting there waiting for him on the beach and had him alive coming up on the beach, and the seals were the Marines and whatnot pissed off because what are you doing filming us? We're trying to
actually, Philip, you're thinking of a Mogadishu. They were on the beach there in Africa.
Oh,
Yeah. But Vince has got a flag up there. Another Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, as a matter of fact, down in Grenada, there was a group that got in there and I think it was one team of SEALs or something like that, and they held off 200 Cubans trying to take it, and they fought to the last 2 men, but they held that thing off. It was really a bloodbath in certain locations, but it was just a ridiculous thing.
Steve was in the conflict.
wow.
Oh, no kidding.
Everybody, I'm gonna jump off of here. It's
All right,
time
Ron.
to get kids to bed, so we'll talk at you later.
Hey,
Appreciate
take care, Rodney. Nice to see you.
That must put Steve a little bit older than me. I remember I was in high school, maybe sophomore high school,
Yeah.
when Grenada happened.
Well, that Clint Eastwood film about like whipping the Marines into shape,
Yeah.
that tower defense was loosely based on the SEALs that held that tower. It was
He's 74.
thank you. Was it really? I thought it was in the late 70s. Huh.
No, I think that's he said as his age.
Oh,
So
thank you.
he must have been an officer then.
Yeah, probably. Good night, Rodney. Okay, there you go. So I'm going to take off here too. I was out of town and got back, and by the way, the feral cat, when I moved the laptop, so he looked like, oh, what the hell is this? The TV is moved, and he took off. That's kind of fun.
Oh.
But
James popped in. How about James? How about you coming on and give us an update on? I know you said you're home now on the bees and the honey extractor that you what do you call it, refurbished, and
oh, that's right.
Yeah,
you bought that 60 frame cow, and
he did a nice video on that.
and yeah, he did. He had a beautiful machine, and I know he's had some issues with his bees, but seems like is that your camera flipping back and forth like that, Mike?
Oh, I'm sorry. It must be. I apologize. Well,
Nah.
here's what happened. Your favorite black cat came up here and it changed the lighting, so it jumped it. She was saying to Charlie.
He must be absorbing the blackness or the white light.
She is a black hole.
I can barely see her eyes.
Yeah. Hello. Okay, you gonna clean my ears for me?
Gotta get that big salt lick up there.
She is an attention hog. So it's really funny, but I don't know.
You can.
Yeah, she's got the green eyes in her.
Look at the camera, then you can barely see her eyes.
Hey, sweetie.
We do have a pretty follically challenged group here. I was watching Mr. Ed's video today, and it just occurred to me that all Mr. Ed's friends have lots of hair. He's got a pelt, and so does Charlie, and so does Wreck-It Ralph. And
what now? What was it, Philip?
That's it. Yeah, I call it a pelt.
A pelt.
Pelt. When your hair's so thick, it's not just hair; it's a pelt. But yeah, I was like, all his friends have hair. I don't understand that. I didn't know you could be that age and have all friends with hair.
Kind of a fun one here. We've got this wonderful little bar on the other side of the lake, and they were talking about bald guys and whatnot. And
I'll be back.
And one guy, he he takes his hat off, and he'd never seen him before with his hat off, and it turns out he's bald. I've known this guy for like 15 years. He says, well, the one thing I guarantee you'll never see is a bald man in a soup line. More testosterone joke, I guess. So yeah. So one of those things. But others don't have the shiny glasses like we do. Darren. Oh, that's rich. That is a good one. Well, guys, hope you all had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's I'm going to take off here, and I'm actually going to take her for a walk, I think, before it gets too cold. So.
All right. Well, good seeing you.
Yeah, very nice seeing you. Very nice seeing you. And tell Charlie that when he goes back with a full thing of popcorn.
Okay.
You're going to have to hold the show for yourself there for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out how he does it when he's on by himself.
Well, take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So, all right. So I guess it's just me and the panel there. How many people are even watching? I can't even tell based on my thing. Somebody will have to tell me. But
What's that?
There it is. I was having to run the show all by myself, and you left me hanging there for like 10 seconds.
I hear you. I just had to hit the bathroom. No, but
yeah, I was about to start telling them all my kids are in town for Thanksgiving, which has been nice. One of them went back to college today. The other one's going back tomorrow. But that was fun. I had some fun with my daughter. Of course, she's here, but she's really not here because all of her friends that she went to high school with are also back in town. They went to different colleges. So they're basically going from one house to the other and out to eat. And, I see her about like I did when she was in high school.
right.
So today she was over here with her friend Olivia, and they were just, as usual, just breezing through. And I stopped them. And I said, Olivia, my daughter's name is Sophie. I said, Olivia, I bet your parents would like to spend some time with you while you're in town, for a little while. She's going to school out in Colorado. And she just smiled at me. And Sophie, she got the point.
Well, is your daughter in college still now or?
Yeah, she just started this year. So. And she's far enough away. It's a 4-hour drive. She's only been home twice since she started, so which is good because I don't want her on the road.
Yeah, Darren, it is hard to sit here and run a show by yourself. I mean, I don't know how Cayman does it. Of course, he's got a couple hundred people on there, and
they're probably
asking questions and stuff like that.
He's also got somebody in the background feed him the questions.
Mm-hmm. And all that stuff, but no, nothing really happening here except for the fact that it's, it finally did get colder, and I've got that foam insulation board up on top of my inner cover.
Yeah, I've still got feeder shims on. And when I say feeder shims, it's an empty medium box because I'm still liquid feeding, but I need to get those off and get them condensed down. But I still have what I thought to be about. I'm just talking about my Capel hives. I have no idea what's going on out in the country. I might go there this weekend. I don't know. We'll see. But I did kind of learn a lesson. I was hefting things from the back, but then one of them that I thought was light, when I opened it up, they still had sugar water in it from 3 weeks ago. And so I went around and picked it up from the front, and it seemed a lot heavier from the front than it did from the back. And what I think had happened was, the rack that they sit on is not the width of the length of the hive. So if the box gets pushed a little bit forward and you pick it up from the back, that weight of the front is going to pick the back up. So it feels lighter than it really is. You kind of got to pick it up from or either slide it backwards and then pick it up, or go around the front and pick it up to get a good good gauge of whether it's heavy enough.
Yeah, I don't really do that as far as picking them up or anything like that. I know back in July and August, the top box was full of honey that the bees brought in. It was at least 60 pounds.
Well, I'm running singles this year, so that's
And
pretty
then,
good.
well, I do mediums all the way through.
Mhm.
And, uh, so anyway, you got that. Then I fed a couple 100 gallons of fluid.
Well, yours are not going to be hungry, Charlie. I've seen the way you feed them. I don't feed like that. I heft them, and if they're light, I feed them, and if they're not, I move on. And I probably feed a tenth of what you feed. I would imagine.
Yeah, Roy. My spring work. The hives right behind me are my honey production hives. That's part of them. There's 16 of them now. First thing I'll do, probably late March, if everybody gets through the winter, and I got 1 year queens going into the winter, this year's queens going into the winter. So they went through one honey season. So I should have a lot of nice production. My sugar water that I used, I put Apis Biologic in. So I'm hoping that those hives will be overflowing with bees. So the first thing I'll do right out the gate is I'll take that top medium off, shake all the bees out of it. I'm going to try to take cap brood out of the top box and the middle box. And that's what my goal would be. But I think what I might do is shake all the bees out of the top box, make sure the queen's in the bottom, put the queen excluder on, and put 2 honey supers on right away. And then put that top box up on top of the honey supers. And that way it'll draw those bees up into the honey supers and then come right back in a few days or maybe the next day. And I will lift off the 2 honey supers and that top box as a unit with my hive lifter, then go down into the bottom box and pull out all the capped honey or capped brood. And I think what I'm going to do is have a secondary box off to the right, pull out, put all the brood over there. Probably prior to taking the hive apart, I'll probably pull out all the uncapped brood that's up in that top box and put it off over maybe on the side of first put that over in that box that I'll have off to the side. And then I will swap out the uncapped with the capped brood out of the middle box and then put it all back together again. Now my nukes, I've got about 8 nukes, and one of them I think I'll do it tomorrow. Really, it'll be in the 30s. I'll screen the front of it up and I'll strap it up, take a hand truck out there and roll that thing down. There's a spot right there where that yellow hive is. And I will put that nuke right there because that's where a production hive went down on me where I had queen issues. And I'll wrap it for now, and then I'll transition it over to mediums. And then there's, let's see, that yellow hive is right behind me there, farthest away towards the red truck cab. That's a double deep. I've got 5 of those. Now, what happened was this spring, I got a bunch of nukes in, didn't want to take the time to transition from deep to mediums at the time. I wanted to get as much honey production out as possible. And I worked with the double deeps, taking the top off, putting miticides in. Even with the hive lifter, they're a bear to work with. It's just for me. So first thing right out the gate I'll do is early spring. I'm saying March. If the weather's starting to turn nice, I will put 2 medium brood chambers with brood comb in it, 2 medium boxes with brood comb in it, or with some foundation in it, maybe. Probably try to get as much brood comb as possible, and I've got 5 of those hives, and I will transition them this spring, early spring, to medium boxes. And then I hopefully after a few days or weeks, the bottom deep I will be able to pull that out of the mix completely, and then drop the maybe the queen will be upstairs laying in them 2 mediums, and if she is, I'll take that other deep out of the mix, shake all the bees off of it down into the 2 medium boxes, queen excluder, and put that I'll probably put a honey box on, and then I'll put that deep on top and let them hatch out if there's any brood in there, and then pull that thing off of it and go completely all mediums. I've already checked. I've got 27 medium boxes in the wings, and that's just empty boxes. So I need 5, 6, 3, 6. I need 18 boxes to transition everything to mediums. I need 3 for the one for that nuke, and then, like I say, I need 3 of them. I need 3 boxes per hive. I need 18 boxes. I got enough there. I got enough honey supers in the freezers, plus some extra supers that are not, full. And then also I've learned last year, my nukes will produce honey quite a bit. I'll get 10, 15 frames of honey out of a nuke. And nukes are great for pulling wax. I will put queen excluders on all of those nukes early spring, and I'll drop a medium 5-frame box, possibly with just foundation in there, and let them build wax for me. Or maybe not even put a queen excluder on there. Maybe, I'm not sure. Because I'll need brood comb and all that. Might just keep the honey supers off and put foundation on there and let them build wax for me and stuff like that. So that's my plans for now. Swap over the double deeps to all mediums, and try to learn to. If I have a tremendous amount of bees like that, I think I'll probably just put queen excluders on, put the 2 honey supers on, and put that top box up on top of a honey super, shake the bees out, of course, and then come back and then manipulate that hive to where it won't swarm. Because I really don't need to do that right off the bat. They're not going to swarm, I don't think, early April at that point in time. And all that. Huh?
Probably not for you. I mean, for me, the 3rd week of April, that's the big swarm weekend.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by that time, I will be back in there. I'll have enough bees that have gotten enough room up into the honey supers and all that I will reduce the amount of bee load, and I can get into the other boxes without too much problems. And then having a hive lifting machine where I can pick up 3 boxes as a unit. That makes, you don't disturb the bees as much because they're in that unit on the lifter. The only where you break the bees apart is where they kind of get disturbed. But these 3 boxes on your lifter, they kind of go up inside that box. And then the other box is just right there like normal. Smoke them a little bit, So that's a learning curve. We're using a newer machine, how to manipulate and stuff. Now this year, because I had a lot of dead outs in my production and everything. I didn't have to worry about that. My biggest thing was trying to get queens back in there for the build back up, and I figured I was only going to get 500 pounds of honey because it was so bad. And I came back and them bees worked good for me and the queens worked good for me. And I got over 1,000 pounds this year.
Which ones of those hives are double deeps, Charlie? I can't really tell which ones of those hives are double deeps.
The one that yellow in there that's by itself,
Yeah. Okay.
that's a double deep. The rest of them down through there are all double medium or triples, mediums.
Okay.
I like the mediums. I mean, I can go in there. What I found was I had a double deep, and I was going back in there to get, I think it was the Formic Pro in September, or maybe it was April where you set those two hives together for 6 weeks. Well, they glued that sucker down something terrible, with burr comb in between the frames and all. And I'm busting and busting. I even had that big hive tool that I got from Bill that's about 15 inches long to give me more leverage. And then I tried to get my hive lifter on there, and finally it broke loose. And I'm like, this is a pain. Where I can manipulate a medium box, I can bust them apart a lot easier. Stuff. I mean, it's just me. And all, it's more boxes and more frames, but I also look at it this way. All my hives are all the same box. They're all the same size frame. All my nukes will be pretty much the same size frame and box, medium frames, medium boxes. So everything is interchangeable and everything.
Yeah.
Just like your commercial guys, Ian and Brad and all them, they only use deep boxes through and through. Deep box honey supers, deep box brood chambers. They can manipulate from one thing to another without a problem.
Yeah, I'm just not. I can't pick up those deeps. If you got something to lift, and you can handle it, but I can't pick them up if they're full of honey. I can, but I regret it right after I do it. Hey, Roy.
Hey. Oh, just waiting for the big snowstorm. Apparently the 2 foot of snow isn't going to happen, but all around us. So I only got a couple inches out there, maybe 3 at the most. So
All
that
right.
is wonderful.
That's
in
cool.
there. No, I was just, just my spring management. I'm going to do more of that on the spot queen rearing in May, early May.
OTS.
Yep. Then when I split those off, and hopefully survival's good this year. But then I'm going to start making queens to fill up, anything else that doesn't make it. But I've had pretty good luck with that in the past, and I'm going back to it.
So I thought that I had heard about every way to make a queen, but I listened to a guy that was going through very methodically and talking about the different ways to make a queen, and he said something that I hadn't heard. I just heard it a couple months ago or a month ago. I can't remember the guy's name, but what he said you can do is you can take, how you can take a queenless hive and put some eggs in it, and they'll make queen cells, right?
Yep.
But they have to go out and then down. He said you can put a shim around the top of that and take your frame with eggs and put it in that shim and lay it on its side. And those eggs and small larvae are already pointing down, and they'll pull those cells down perfectly.
Yeah, I forget that's an old time method.
He said also put it up on some little spacers or blocks to give them room between the top of the frame and that when you lay down, and they'll give you perfect queen cells out of that. You don't have to worry about grafting them.
I picked up that Mel Disicone at one time and kind of listened to him a little bit, and I bought his book, which was really expensive, but it was worth the read in there. It's a good resource, but just notching out where those cells are. And I mean, I can take a good strong double deep and I could split it 3 ways or 4. Depends on what I want.
Yeah, I haven't been notching, but that's the way I've been raising queens. I haven't grafted yet, but it's just make a good strong hive queenless, and then I go back and harvest the cells out of it.
Yep,
I don't use foundation, so it's easy.
Well, I use plastic foundation, so I can't quite cut them out in there. But it's just the one year I ran out of equipment so fast it was unbelievable. But I wasn't knowledgeable enough to manage what I did. I just split like the Diggins, and and I ended up with no equipment left, and I was just amazed. And once again, the Varroa got ahead of me and everything. But this year's a different story. But like I said, it just gives me that window from May, first week of May to the second week of May to do my splits up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got an idea that I want to try this year, but I'm almost afraid to share it because I probably won't have enough time to do it. But I would like to, especially out in the country, I'd like to replace all my queens with young queens. And the way I'm thinking about doing that is, first of all, almost everything's in singles. So I was going to put a deep on top of everything, and then this is going to be very risky. And like no later than the middle of February, I was going to pull some frames of brood up to the top and put an empty frame between them, which if it's cold, that could be disastrous. But if it's not, hopefully I can get some frame. And if I drop empty frames in the middle of the brood nest below, they'll draw those out real fast. So but I'm basically trying to just get drawn comb. And then coming back and taking my queen with one or with the two frames, a frame of food and a frame of brood, taking her and putting her in a nuke and letting them make queen cells or make their own, or actually I was going to pick the hives I want to propagate earlier, like a couple weeks earlier, and get queen cells started, and then come back when I move that queen, drop queen cells in that I want, and then take those and make a split. Well, put a queen cell in there after I remove the queen and take a split off that hive. But like I said, I've got it to make it to where I can still make honey. I got to do that super early, and I've been working out the timing in my head. I kind of got to get started like March 1st, or it's not going to work. I'm going to end up with a lot of bees and no honey.
Yeah, I'll get some maple, in there. I'll get the supers on early just before I start doing all that. But hopefully come out pretty good. I got James Knoll on here. He lives to the east of me, and we're gonna share some bees this spring, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, and
he was in the chat.
I forgot to mention that queen that I'm going to take off and put in nukes, she's going to continue to lay. And I was going to steal an idea from Brad at Faith Apiaries. I'm going to put them off in their own yard, and I'm going to treat them like zombie queens. And when they start making brood, I'm bringing all that cap brood back to that production hive and loading it back so they don't really they don't have much of a drop off, Well,
with that OTS, if I pull the queen and a couple of frames of brood, depending on the weather, and do just what you're going to do, take her away, and I let raise those queen cells I've notched in the frame and then I could pull those frames out, move them the next week, and split them up again, and that way it'll keep my swarming down, and I get a brood break in the spring because I'm trying to get away from Apivar. I mean, it's just one cost that I don't want, and I'm gonna do a little. I was listening to Scientific Bee Guy. Just lost his name. Randy Oliver, and talking about when they hit a certain date, then hit them with the dribble or oxalic acid, like 18 days, and clean them up quick, and that way I can kind of stay out of it. That's been my biggest problem, trying to keep through. I lose about anywhere from 15 to 30% every year, and I'd like to get that down.
You have to make sure you make. Go ahead, Charlie.
The method you're talking about, where you're laying the frame flat, is called the Hopkins method.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, go ahead and look at Hopkins queen rear method.
Okay, yeah. Brian was saying alley method. I don't know what that's all
No,
about.
it's Hopkins. I just looked it up.
Now, Roy, you're going to need to make sure you have, don't have any cap brood, because what I think happens in the spring is when you test for mites, it looks like you don't have any.
Yeah.
I think the reason it looks like you don't have any is because those mites are taking advantage of those first cap cells, and they're all under the cappings.
If I get those brood breaks going, it just gives me one leg up going into the honey season.
Yeah. It's all about timing. But see, the way I'm talking about doing it, I could do that. But if I'm going to be bringing cap brood back from that queen to reinforce, to get those hives back up to population, I'm going to also be bringing mites back with those
Yeah.
with that cat brood, because she's never going to be broodless. You know, in those zombie hives that, you know.
Yeah. But now that's one thing when I'm putting two mediums for my brood chamber, like for single brood chamber, honey supers, and I put that top brood chamber up top. When I put those, you can put some open cells up there, and it's so far removed from the bottom brood chamber, they'll make queen cells up there for you.
Is that Deborah you talk about, or?
Yeah, they'll make queen cells up there, and you can just go in there and harvest. You can take that, select which ones you like the most, pull it out of there, and put it in another nuke with some other bees, and like I say, that's an easy way of not having to graft right away.
Yeah, I felt
that's one thing.
miserable.
It's one thing I'm going to do this spring is get back into queen rearing.
I tried to do that on a couple of hives, but I blew it. But they did make the queen cells, but I didn't really like the way they looked. They looked kind of.
Well, I tried that Randy Oliver, the 3 boxes and moving around. It worked really well, for his small queen rearing. But I shook a bunch of bees in there, and when I went back in and looked, I need a lot more bees than what I did, because most of them flew home. I got a little older bees, so my queen take wasn't as good. So hopefully this year we go beyond, getting 7 right queen cells. So we'll see what we can do, what I can do a little better.
That's been my problem. I can graft, I can do all that very good. It's setting up the queenless cell builder, getting enough bees in there. And I've been talking to some other friends of mine. I said, mine was always like, oh, let's go make some queens. And I set up a cell builder, and he says, no, you got to prepare that cell builder like 2 weeks in advance. Mm-hmm. You got to go in there and chock it full of queen, your cap cells, and then make sure they don't hatch out a queen on you. And I've always found here lately is for me, the easiest way of doing it and making sure you got nurse bees, if you got a bunch of resource hives, nukes, shake off the cap brood and stuff like that, and put some open brood up there in a box, put a queen excluder in, and in 20 minutes, all your nurse bees will be up through that queen excluder, covering up all that brood up there in a top box on your nuke.
That's why I got all my 4/4s ready. I've got 10 of them out back, and last year I didn't lose one. I mean, they were 3 boxes high. There was only 8 combs, and a couple of them, and they came out wonderful. I was pleasantly surprised, but I got to learn to manage that to get my brood for my queen cells or my queen mating.
Right. And so that's what I, like you were saying, you can pull brood out of your cell. Like I have 5/5 nukes and stuff like that. You keep pulling that brood out of there, and then you can keep them from swarming, and then also fill up your, let's say, a cell builder, or you can make more splits and use some queen cells to put a queen in there for you, stuff like that. So sometimes I forget about all that stuff, and we get to talking about it in the wintertime, then you forget about it by the springtime sometimes.
I keep writing notes down and keep the tablet full so I can come back to it every once in a while and keep myself on track.
And all that.
I'll tell you what, if you want to draw a comb, you can try that flyback split that I tried a couple of years ago.
What's that one?
That's the one Gus Mitchell would talk about. You leave the queen in one frame of brood, and you take every other frame of brood out and move it. And he would, and then the bees, they're left with the queen in one frame, and maybe, you put honey on each end so they don't starve to death. But all those foragers come back in, and they revert back to building comb and being nurse bees all over again.
Mm.
But I'll say there's two things that happened. One is he's right. They built that bottom box back in 1 week, filled up every one of those empty combs, empty frames. But they were the gentlest bees that became mean and mad as hell because I knocked them back so bad. But and the idea is you take your brood away and you harvest your queen cells from those. And what I found was those queen cells were they didn't look very good. There wasn't enough population to build good queen cells. With those with the
That sounds kind of similar to a demery.
With the nurse bees. But it's not on the same hive. It's in a different spot.
I'll have to go back and watch that one if he's got it.
Yeah, I was really happy with how fast they built back those. It's almost like a shook swarm at that point, where they build those combs back really fast. I wasn't happy with the sales, so now the next year I just went back to my old method of taking the queen and a frame or two and putting her in a nuke and moving her, and then all of a sudden I wouldn't say they made a lot. Sometimes they'll make you 13 or 14. Sometimes they'll make you 7 or 8 decent sales. Last year was only 7 or 8.
I got enough equipment. I should be able to double this year. Even if I have some winter losses with that. So just kind of working more. I'm going the other way. Charlie's going to mediums. I'm going to deeps just so I have some nuke frames in there. And the hive lifter makes a tremendous amount of ease to all that stuff. So that works out pretty well for me.
So what do you got, a B3 too?
No, I got a B1.
You got a
Just
B1?
the hand truck.
Yeah, like Brad's got.
Yeah.
Well, and Joseph's in here tonight. He's got one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, my son came home and he helped me pull honey this year, and he goes, "Oh, I don't want to use this thing." I said, "Well, you lift a few boxes and we'll talk about it." And once he got it figured out, he said, "This is the greatest piece of equipment you've ever bought." And I went, "Yep."
Yeah. Now, when you lift are you using a fume board and a blower or what?
No, I'm just using bee escapes.
Okay,
in there. That's all I'm using. And they were pretty clean. I got an electric bee blower. I hook up to a generator if we're out there, but I really didn't need it. They cleaned out pretty nice. I just got done getting all the shims cut for another 20 of them. So I got to start working on those here the next week.
I don't think we can use bee escapes down here. I think the hive beetles will clean us out.
I bought one when I first started and I never used it because I run it right away. I said, well, wait a minute. I got to lift all these darn things off and then put them all back on and all that. And then I found out about a fume board. And then my son, I've been using his Milwaukee little miniature blower, leaf blower, blowing them out, so the stragglers you blow out after the fume board's been on there for about 5 minutes. That's one thing I got to do. Have to buy down at Nobby. I got to buy some fume boards down there if I can find them.
Well, I didn't know about the fume boards. All I heard about is the nasty stuff you put on top and how bad it smells, and it kind of turned me away from it. So
there's what is it? Honeybee Gone, which is good smelling stuff. And another one, I forget what it was. Fisher's Be Quick.
Yeah, that's what I learned from the chat here is those two items. So I may buy a couple of them just to help out in there, but I'll have the bee escape for the most part.
But if you get that other kind, I forget the other kind, it smells like rotten eggs. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I use Honey Bandit, but
Charlie, is that the one? Is that the Bandit? Is that the one that smells bad, or is it good?
No, it smells fine. It actually smells
Honey
kind of nice.
Gone and Bandit are the two good ones, and then Fisher, like I said, Be Quick is bad. I think maybe.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I'll tell you what, Charlie, I make all my equipment. That's a given, and you don't make any of yours, but the fume
Except for
boards are
something like that.
the fume boards are about the easiest things I've ever made. You just
What
got
do
to
you
buy.
use for the cloth?
All you have to do is build a rectangle and put a piece of felt on it, and then tack down a piece of metal over that, and you're done.
What kind of felt?
I just get felt from the
From
one of
the
the clothing stores. Yeah, the
Oh.
heavy felt. Yeah, just
yeah,
white
from like
felt.
Joanne Fabrics or something like that.
Yeah.
Just get yourself some real, 1/8-inch thick felt.
Yeah.
And
1/8 inch? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's about it's about that thick, and put it like he was saying. You make a supposed to get some tin that's black, so it absorbs heat from the sun.
I just make mine with leftover plywood strips that I've got laying
Okay.
around because they're not going to be out in the weather much. Well, actually, mine are now, but I'm actually using them on top of my stacks of mediums drawn comb because it makes a nice little shim for me to put my mothball paramoth in. So they're actually the lids on top of my stacks of mediums right
Well,
now.
that's easy enough. I go out buy a yard or so and try it out.
Yeah,
I got enough scrap lumber around here. I was
Well,
just
really,
trying to sort it out.
I don't know. Some people all talk about the sunlight, but really, I think, Philip, like you saying, if you got some Luan plywood and put that on a shim, and then put that piece of felt on the inside and just spray it good, that one, the smell alone will take care of it.
Well,
So
I used 3/4 plywood for the rim.
No, not the rim. I'm talking about
The top part, I just
top
put the
part.
felt. I just put the felt, and then I've got sheet metal over that.
Where'd you get your sheet metal at, though?
I make my own lid, so I've got it anyway. I buy it in 50-foot rolls. Of course, that damn stuff's gotten to be expensive. When I first started beekeeping, it was about $55, and I just paid $80 for the 50-foot by 20-inch wide roll.
Oh, I just wanted to stop on for a minute, and you guys have a great night. I'll be in the chat if you're still on.
All right. Well, you can stay on if you want.
Oh no, I've got to go. Mother Nature is calling here, so.
All right. Good seeing you, Roy.
All right. Joseph, thanks for that tip about fume boards from Hilco.
Yeah, $24. All
If
right, I'm
anything,
gonna run.
I can call John out and say, hey, bring me some out to the Nobby.
I'm gonna run and grab one of mine. And show it to you.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to say hi to Lee. He came in and Joseph came in. And all that. No, let's see. Looking up the he's got the solar fume boards.
Oh, let's see. See if I can get far enough back.
Like them.
Camera. So that's it right there. It's just a piece of metal stapled. It's got foam on the inside.
Right.
Actually on this one, I guess I did do a rabbited joint, but I usually just do a butt joint. But it's that simple. It's a couple of inches deep.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to it. I did start out trying to use thumbtacks, but that don't work too good. I ended up having to come back and staple it. But you can see still a few thumbtacks that I had in this one. to hold it down. They just didn't.
Either that or put some screws in there.
I think some roofing nails would have done better. Would be the better way to go.
Yeah, you could use political signs. That'd be a pretty good idea. Steal a couple road signs.
But just like anything else, if it's not nice and sunny out, these don't work that great anyway.
Yeah. How's Joseph doing? You can hear? We can hear you now, I think.
John's Hilco price is 21 and change, 21, 23 or something like that. John's Expo price. I'm talking backwards. 21 and change. I just looked at it.
Yeah, it's 21.23.
Yeah. And they're not bad. They're light. That's what I like about them. My homemade one's heavier, almost as heavy as a regular lid.
Mm.
Hey, DC. Hey, Brad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody said that. I think the skateboards are used more up north. Wouldn't you think hive beetles would be a problem if you use the skateboards, Joey?
I'm scared of them down here. I really am. Hive beetles can take over so fast down here.
I know when I bring my honey in, I've got like 3 days to get it extracted, or I'm gonna have a hive beetle problem.
Hey, Roy.
And I don't want to give them another day or two head start on me.
Yeah, once I get them in the honey house, I kind of get them under control, I guess. But I go out there and put a fume board under them and leave them out there in that hot bee yard for how long you got to leave them? A day, 2 days.
What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, you're talking about the skateboards.
The skateboards. A day. Is it a
day
day a
per
box
super.
or something like that?
Yeah, that's what I heard. A day per super.
Yeah, I'd be scared to do it down here.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think Mike Berry has tried it a few times, but he's kind of scared of it too, you know. But he has tried it. He's got a couple, I put it that way.
Yeah.
Are y'all hearing me?
Yep, I'm hearing you good.
Okay.
So what's your plan for next year, Joey?
Next year,
Next spring, yeah.
I think I'm going to go back to my old way of splitting with the double screen board. And I'm not going to just pull the nuke out. I'm going to put the board in and split them right off and then pull my nukes afterwards with cells. That's kind of the plan. I've been kind of doing that Bob Benny method, and it works good, but I'm wanting to relocate the queen. I've always had good luck relocating her. You know, and if I can catch her in the top above that double screen board, that'd give me the split that y'all were talking about earlier. It'd give me the when I split it, it'd give me that brood break. And also brood breaks the top where she's at because she don't have any flying bees. And once I realized I got a nice, good queen cells at the bottom, I can relocate that box again. And there's another brood break because I just took her flying bees away from her again.
So you're not gonna move any brood up with her.
Well, whatever's in the box with her, when I split it in half, she's gonna get it. I'm not moving. If I do it my old way, I won't be moving anything around. I'll just be putting a divider board between the two boxes. Whatever's there is there. And
okay. So you're gonna are you gonna do the dirty split, or are you gonna put the queen excluder between them and then come back in a few days and see where she is?
No, I'll just put the divider board in, come back 7 days later and make sure the queen is at the top and they're building cells at the bottom.
Okay.
And if they are, I'm taking her away again, moving her somewhere else, and let them get reestablished. And then I'm going to pull her and a frame or two out and put in a nuke and let those make another queen again.
So you're going to have to get started early on that, aren't you?
Yeah, March 1st is always my target date down here.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing my splits on March 15th. We are about 2 weeks behind you for the most part. But I don't have double deeps. I've got to figure out. I was going to try to start like 1st of February, middle of February, trying to get them to move into 2 deeps. I know I'll only get, 5 frames probably pull.
I've got two singles. I got more than that, but I got 2 singles that just never really went anywhere. It was swarms I caught, and they just never really did good. So about 1st of March, I think what I'm going to do with them, after I get one of those double deeps making cells, I'm going to go pinch the queen and give them a cell out of there. Those 2 swarms that I'm talking about, they never did get out of a single box all spring, all summer. So they just kind of existed. So I don't want that. I don't want them making drones in my yard nowhere. So I'll be pinching them and replacing them with a cell or either one of my older queens.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go back to my old method, I never really had old queens very long. I got rid of them. Maybe a year or 2 old, that was it. And I always did good that way. And I've been using the other method for about 3 or 4 years now, and it's worked good. It's easier to make nukes that way, but I'm just leaving that old queen in her original place, and I don't know, that part just ain't working good for me because I can't get back to them in time to split them again sometimes, and they're trying to get ahead of me, and you tend to have an older queen 2 or 3 years when you keep doing it that way over and over.
Yeah, that's why I want to take my older queen and move her off to a nuke yard somewhere.
Yeah. We use all the old queens for utility queens.
But I'm a little nervous about doing that because if I do that on March 15th, then are those new queen cells, and when those queens go out on their mating flights, are they going to get well mated, or is that too early? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, usually time here, if I do that on March 1st, now some guys here like to do it on 15th. I always try to do it on March 1st because it gets time for her to be mated. You've got drones flying out there.
Right.
On that time frame. You may not have a whole bunch of them running around in your box right now, but that's not the drones you're really worried about anyway.
Yeah.
By the time she is emerged, you're looking at what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later?
Yeah. I know I usually try to hold off on getting into mine until March 1st. But sometimes it's the last week of February. When you have a real warm February, it's hard to not make yourself go through them. But when I go in around the 1st of March, there's a lot of cap drones, but there's not a whole lot of walking drones.
And what happens that way, and this is what our mentor used to say, and I just lost his name. He was on live earlier today. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, he was talking about that. And when you do that, what you're getting, your queen is getting mated with drones from colonies out there that survived the winter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're getting them mated early enough that you're not catching a bunch of package bees that got brought in later and getting mated by those. You getting mated by local drones
That
that
makes sense.
their queen and colony overwintered. And you get all that done earlier, then you don't have to worry about queens getting mated by something that got brought in here, you know.
That makes sense.
Fred Dunn, he was talking about that today. One of the questions that somebody had asked him. He brought that subject up about getting your queens mated by colonies, drones from colonies that made it through the winter. Yep, Brian's got it. Fred Dunn. Charlie show is quiet.
Yeah, I was looking up fume boards. Miller Bee Supplies got the one that I think I bought back down at Hive Life, and all that. They're $19 a piece with a little steel top to them and all.
Oh, it's steel?
Yeah, aluminum.
Yeah. That might be better. I hate to say it. That might be better
Well,
because
I bought that.
John's using some
I bought
kind of
several of them down there at Hive Life.
yeah.
I think it was from Miller Bee Supply, and I
That
got
metal
some.
gets hot quick.
I still got them here, and I think somebody, you know how it is, you let somebody borrow something, but they never know how to bring anything back.
I hate to have to go get borrow something back from somebody. I hate that with a passion.
And I
sitting over
got
here.
one fella here, and I don't know whether he borrowed some, and then I was like, well, did you ever bring it back? And he said, yeah. And I should have wrote I should, I need to take notes and put it in my phone. So I used to have 4 of them. That way I could, by the time I set them all and all that stuff. What's that when you got to get rid of your, is that one that's got that plastic thing in there?
Let me turn this off.
Yeah. There you go.
That's
that
kind of plastic.
Yeah,
But
it's like
nice.
that's like Man Lake. What's the idea behind that? It's supposed to heat up or something?
It does draw heat pretty good. It does that now. And like I say, they're real light. That thing don't weigh but 3 or 4 pounds at the most.
Yeah, well, mine hardly weighed anything either.
But
Yeah,
any kind of metal is going to draw heat better, I would think.
Yeah. You can just throw a towel up there and spray your stuff on it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Miller Bee Supplies got them and be at Nobby, and they're less than $20 a piece. I think I'll go out here to the shed and see.
Fume board is a fume board,
Yeah. And see how many I got. I think I got 2. I'm going to get at least 2 more. And that way I can, by the time I get to the 4th hive, extract, pulling boxes off and stuff like that, it'll be on there for 5 minutes, which really clears the bees out.
Yeah, that's what we use 4. My homemade one and 3 Hilco ones, and that works out pretty good. I could probably do 5, but 4 works good.
And all that. So,
they kind of work good too. Tell you what else they work good for when you're setting your honey boxes on the trailer. I always use lids and cover them up If you got extra fume boards, they work good too. They keep bees away from it.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, when I'm stacking the supers up, getting ready to move, I leave a fume board on those because the bees that came over with those frames will want to get out of there whenever you move it out of the way.
Yep.
So,
Well,
Charlie, talking about borrowing your stuff back. Back when I was in the air conditioning business, anytime I pulled an old air handler out that was a 110-volt fan, if the fan was still good, I always made big blowers out of them and set them out when you barbecuing or whatever. You can set them out and they do fine, good blowers. I loaned a cousin 2 of them one time and told him just keep them. I'm not going to need them for a while. Just keep them and use them all summer. And anyway, several months later, I asked him about them. He said, "No, I ain't got yours." He said, "But I got a couple if you want to borrow them." I don't know where they went.
Were they yours or not?
Huh?
Were they yours?
I never did go get them. I just went and picked up a couple more fans and built me 2 more.
No, I don't like that. I mean, I always make sure I borrow stuff back. And then, like, he borrowed my little insulation blockers when I'm using OAV. And here he runs off to the military. And I had to make new ones. And I told him about it. I like, well, that, you put me in a big imposition,
Yeah.
I said, I got stuff to do and I only have a certain amount of time to do it in. So never again.
So yeah, that borrowing back, Joey, that reminded me of, I think it was Justin Wilson told a story about these 2 fellas that they would sell a mule back and forth. One of them would need to do some plowing and he'd buy the mule from his friend, and they come around, his friend would buy it back, and they did that 3 or 4 times, and this fella went back over to his friend's house to buy the mule back, and he said, "Well, I just sold it." He said, "What do you mean you sold it?" He said, "Yeah, a fella come by and needed a mule, and I sold it to him." He said, "Why'd you do that?" He said, "You and me was making a good living off that mule."
Chris Combs asked what that fume board was made out of. It looks almost like a political sign, a black political sign. I'm not sure what it is.
It's sort of like a fiberglass or something, like a clear. But it's gray looking. And Man Lake has the same identical one that Hill Coast got. Now, Miller Bee Supply that'll be at Nobby has the one where it's just a wooden frame and it's got the aluminum that's stapled all the way around.
Yeah. I don't even see my old one. I don't know where it's at, but I got one that's got a black Lexan on it. And it worked good, but when I tried one of these Hillco ones, I found out mine didn't work as good as I thought it was. I don't even know where it's at.
You say Lexan or like?
Yeah, it was a shaded Lexan. It was a scrap piece we had laying around the shop, and I just threw it on there to see if it'd work. And I put felt on the bottom of it, and it did the job. But I think metal would do better. It was just harder to come by scrap metal than it was.
Yeah, chloroform or chloroplast, which is more.
You could probably take a political sign and just paint it black.
Yeah, could do that. But anyway, I seen them. I figured out, well, that'll be something I can buy. I need to buy. And I'll probably buy another bottle of honeybee going while I'm at it because they all have it right there.
If they have it cheap enough, I might go ahead and get like a gallon of it. I've got 2 or 3.
Like about $100 and some for that stuff.
I know it's expensive.
Honey Band is crazy high. Just a little bottle costs $30.
Yeah,
if I can keep up, I'll go through there and pull in anything capped myself and just shake bees off.
Mhm.
And that's cheap to me. But once everything gets ready, you know, and you got to get them all off, then it's time to go to fume boards. But I don't mind pulling a frame at a time during the early spring once they start capping some.
Yeah. This fall, when I was basically just taking my honey supers off. I wasn't really trying to harvest anything. I ended up getting, I mean, I took, even if it had a trace of nectar in it, I took it off of there, but I only got like 4 or 5 boxes out of 30, 40 colonies. But the bees weren't they weren't up in them anyway. If they didn't have anything in them, the bees were up there, but there was very few. I just take them, and mainly because I forgot my honey bandit, so I didn't have any choice. But I found I just shake them off and then brush them off, and you could move pretty fast. Switch them from one box to the next.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one box on every hive. It wasn't 3 boxes on every hive like in the spring. That's bad. It makes a big difference.
We had a girl from church wanted to come help us, me and my wife, one time. And she showed up, and I showed her kind of our routine of just pulling and shaking. We wasn't doing fume boards then. That girl jumped in there. I told Lisa, I said, we need to start getting her here regular.
Yeah, she did it, huh?
I leave her and send her back home with a gallon of honey fast as she worked. She just kind of like elbow you, get out of the way, you know, shaking bees off and putting it in the box.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a similar experience with my mentee, and she's had such health issues. She hadn't been able to help me much, but she helped me make splits with queens, and and she was one of these people that was all didn't want to hurt any bees, real careful and all that. But when you're making those 2-3 frame splits for those queens, and you're shaking bees in there, and it's kind of a violent process. Know what I mean? And I kept wondering how she did fine. All the splits she made, that all the queens came back mated. But you know, we were just taking. I'd say, okay, I'm gonna hand you these frames, and you're gonna stick them in the thing, and I'm gonna hand you the queen cell, and you're gonna go stick it between the frame and close it up. You know, oh no, you're gonna shake a couple of frames. You're gonna grab a couple of frames of bees and shake in there, and then you're gonna. And we did, 7 or 8 of them, and she did fine. But I often wonder, it's like, man, she's inexperienced like that, and bees are everywhere, and you're shaking them and crushing a few because you got to shake them in there and then throw that lid on top before they pile back out of there. But she did good.
Yeah. You do it fast like Ian, you don't see all them bees getting crushed.
That's right.
He just rips it open and slams it closed.
Well, guys, it's about 20 minutes 11 here. I think I'm going to go ahead and shut the chat down for the evening here. We had a good time, and last night we had a good time also. And for another week and all. So everyone have a good night and have a good week for your bees. Hopefully it won't get too cold for them, but cold enough to keep them where they should be.
Yeah.
In the hive and not flying too much.
Yeah.
And
y'all
all
smash
that.
like button on your way out.
Huh?
Told everybody to smash that like button on your way out.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good night, y'all.
Good night,
See
everybody.
y'all tomorrow night.
We'll catch y'all later. Good night, Darren.